Coming up on Bloom, meet a world-renowned violinist sharing the power of music.
Well, Carnegie Hall definitely was the dream of my life, the dream of my family. My grandfather used to be an incredible musician, and his biggest dream was to come and perform in the United States.
And I'll take you inside a food truck bringing authentic Mexican seafood to Tampa Bay. Plus, how two stylists empower women through beauty. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. You've probably heard the saying, life is not a dress rehearsal. So today, we're going to help you experience life the way you want to live it and introduce you to people doing just that. Our first guest started her career journey at just 6 years old and has since made her way onto grand stages like Carnegie Hall to the far reaches of 90 countries around the world. Violinist Bernadette Nyari has captivated audiences with her sensational talent and awe-inspiring performances for her entire life. She was born in Budapest, Hungary, and followed in the footsteps of her late grandfather, who was a legendary figure in Hungarian music, and trained alongside a world-renowned violin soloist professor. Today, Bernadette is considered one of the best violinists in the world, and she's out with her new single, Rebirth. Bernadette Nyari, welcome to Bloom. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
And congratulations on the release of your new single, Rebirth. Tell me a little bit about it.
Thank you so much. So the actual release date is going to be on June 19th, together with the music video. It is a very happy song, a very summer vibe song. That's why the release date is on that day, because we wanted to start the summer with a happy, summery vibe, you know.
I love it. I love it. And I think your song's going to really resonate with people of all ages. You know, there's this popular Bridgerton series that all of the young people are listening to, and it's an introduction to music as it was in, centuries ago, really. Now, you've played at venues like Carnegie Hall. Tell me a little bit about that experience. What was that like?
Well, Carnegie Hall definitely was the dream of my life, the dream of my family. My grandfather used to be an incredible musician, and his biggest dream was to come and perform to the United States. Unfortunately, because of the political situations back in the time in Hungary, he never made it because he believed in God, and let's say that was not really allowed that time, you know, so they took his passport away, and he never was able to leave the country anymore. So when I was a little girl and I decided that I would like to, make his dream, fulfill his dream and make his dream come true, I said that I would like to move to the United States one day and play in stages like Carnegie Hall and play his music. So that's what actually happened last year on October 13th. I played his music because he was a composer as well. The name of the concert was The Untold Melodies. So finally his music came alive, and it was absolutely a magical experience.
That is really, really incredible. And that must give you so much internal drive to play the violin the way you do, because you're doing it in honor of your grandfather and you're giving his music new life again.
That's what exactly I am trying to do. But you said very well a few seconds ago when you said that nowadays generation, sometimes it's difficult to introduce, especially a classical instrument as the violin. And this is exactly why we are making songs. We are trying to make songs like Rebirth. Because Rebirth, when you listen to it, when you will listen to it, it starts in a classical style. But then it's going to be a surprise in the very beginning, and there will be an electronic dance music, EDM, fusions with pop and film music. So it's perfect for the young generation. So everybody can like the song, actually,
Yeah, I can promise you my daughters will love this music, again, because of this new recent exposure, which I think is so cool. And you actually are balancing a lot in life. You have motherhood with being this like world famous violinist. Talk to me about that.
I have a 17-month-old son, and I try to take him everywhere. You know, he was 2 weeks old when I received an email from Carnegie Hall that there was an opportunity for me to perform. So I have only one child. So having a 2 weeks old in my arm, first child, and thinking about to accept the Carnegie Hall or not, it was very, very difficult, you know. But it is very difficult, I must tell you. But I realized that the only thing you can do is step by step. My son is the most important to me, but the violin for me, it's not a job, and it's not even a career. It's my life, you know. So I have to do that too, because I experienced how many people actually can feel better, how many people can actually heal because of the music, because of my music. So I cannot just give that up, you know. That's something I feel I have responsibility also towards that. So I'm just doing step by step everything. It is not easy. I take my son everywhere I can. I took him to Carnegie Hall. I took him to my latest music video and concert tour in Europe the last 2 months. He flew at least 17 times with me already, and he's only 17 months old. So trying.
But really an incredible experience for your son, because even at a very young age, children see, they learn, they experience, and I think as he grows, he's going to see his mom balancing this beautiful, like you say, it's not even a career or a job, it's a passion.
It is.
Alongside with your passion for raising your son. So it's truly the best of both worlds.
It is. Definitely you need determination if you want to reach your goals with it, of course. You know, passion alone is not going to be enough. But passion together with determination, I think it's gonna take you where you want to go. And I really want him to see that everything is possible in life. And I want him to grow up like that, that if actually I manage to practice for Carnegie Hall while I had a few months old and we didn't really have family here in the US to help me with, you know, with him, then I think he will see that everything is possible in life, and I want to teach him that.
And who knows, maybe it's in the DNA, because like your grandfather, you know, started his career, and you started young. I mean, just 6 years old,
yes,
right? Isn't that incredible? And then here we are today. Well, listen, congratulations to you. We really appreciate you sharing your music and your talent and really your inspirational backstory with our Bloom viewers.
Thank you so much. I was so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Okay. And we're going to share this story for you on bloomtampabay.com. And we're just so excited because Bernadette joined us on our podcast, the Bloom Health Club and the WFLA Now Streaming Center, to continue this incredible conversation. So if you want to hear more about her music and her backstory, you can stream the full episode anytime on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. We will be back with more Bloom right after this. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Living the Tampa Bay lifestyle means enjoying the sand, sun, and outdoors fun. So get out, get active, and nurture those healthy habits. Hey there, I'm Gayle, host of Bloom. Now there's a new all-inclusive place with everything you need to shape your lifestyle, boost your health, and improve your wellness. BloomTampaBay.com, Tampa Bay's premier health and wellness website, made to help you feel good. Whether you're a fitness fanatic, beauty buff, or just want to take your first step towards positive change, this free website is for you. See the Bay Area's hottest fitness products, the latest workout crazes, and learn nutrition tips from the experts. Plus, discover local events and experiences designed with your well-being in mind. Cultivate a healthy mind, body, and soul. Check out BloomTampaBay.com, your local health and wellness website. That's BloomTampaBay.com. Welcome back to Bloom. Today we're sharing ways to truly experience life, and sometimes that means taking a leap of faith. And that's exactly what one of our former employees here at WFLA just did. For years here on Bloom, we've worked alongside Sergio Delfin, a dedicated and kind man who used to own a popular restaurant in Mexico that ranked #1 on TripAdvisor before he moved to the States. While he loved his job here at WFLA, Sergio just decided to make a move and try something new. So now we're putting the spotlight on you, Sergio.
You're shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to name it. Rolling.
Rolling.
3, 2.
3, 2, 1. Tampa Bay food lovers, get ready to embark on a culinary journey to Veracruz, Mexico without leaving your city. Sergio Delfin and his wife Adriana Abuerto have launched Chilpayas, a Mexican seafood truck that promises to deliver the same delectable dishes that made their restaurant in Mexico the #1 choice on TripAdvisor. Now, locals and visitors alike can savor the authentic flavors of Veracruz right here in Tampa Bay.
We feel very proud because Veracruz and Tampa are sister cities, and we share the Gulf of Mexico. So we have the same crabs, fish, shrimp, octopus. So it's the same protein, but with our sauce that we designed, like chilpaya, chipotle, Veracruzana sauce, many sauce that we have, and it's part of our life, And we are working so hard here. Hopefully the people come to enjoy and taste the flavors of Veracruz. They are very, very unique and very special. It's a real seafood. I have these shrimp that I have to move.
All right. A taste of tradition and family inspiration. Sergio's culinary creations are deeply rooted in family tradition. His grandmother's recipes are the cornerstone of many dishes, blending rich flavors and time-honored techniques. But the food truck itself is a tribute to Sergio's father, whose picture adorns the side of the truck, symbolizing the spirit and determination that drives Sergio to pursue his dreams in America.
We use a very old picture that I'm going to send you, and here it is. He's when he was young, So all these chilpaya things inspired on my father, He was a very nice guy. He loved the traditional things in her own land, and he loves to cook, and he's part of all this project, Chilpaya.
The moment our Bloom team tasted the food, our usually chatty selves fell silent, lost in the rich, savory flavors of Sergio's cooking. Chilpayas managed to captivate our taste buds completely. So if you're looking for an authentic taste of Mexico, look no further than Chilpayas.
Sergio, all of us here at Bloom wish you the very best. And if you're all about lifting up local and craving an authentic taste of Mexico, look no further than Chilpayas. This food truck, which is truly a cultural experience, is on McDill Avenue in South Tampa, just south of Gandy Boulevard. We're going to put everything you need to know on bloomtampabay.com. And before we go to break, it's time for today's Bloom trivia question. When did Veracruz, Mexico become Tampa's sister city? In 1989, 1995, or 2002? We'll have the answer later on Bloom. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. Today we're helping you experience life to its fullest, but a lot of people don't even have the energy to get out and enjoy the world around them, and the culprit could be heavy metals and a buildup of toxins in your body. Joining me now with how to detox at a cellular level is the author of The Cellular Healing Diet, Dr. Daniel Pompa. It is so great to see you, Dr. Pompa.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, you hear of a detox and you think maybe you're going to drink juices for 5 days, but this is way deeper than that.
Yeah, look, I spent my adult career telling people detox is not as simple as that.
Right.
It's a cellular issue. You have to get to the cell to get well. That's actually my saying. But real detox is also at the cell. If you look at the amount of chemicals that we've been hit with, even in the last 20 years, it's escalated. But what it's doing is it's pushing down those God-given natural detox pathways at the cell. And when those get compromised, now we start just accumulating toxins, and then we get the diagnosis, or we just don't feel well.
Okay, so what causes our cells to get off to where they need to be detoxed?
Okay, if we look at what we're under, this is kind of trending right now, right? If you look at plastics, last week a study came out, or the scientists that did the study, they looked at 1 liter, the amount of plastics in 1 liter of bottled water, and it was 240,000 particles of plastic, microplastics as they're known. Those are hormone disruptors, right? It's like they make us fat. They're obesogens. They're diabetogens, meaning they drive all these conditions. But this is like, this is what we're up against. Forever chemicals, that's trending. PFAs, PFOAs, these
Where
are
are
chemicals.
those found?
Okay, those are found in like everything. I did some social media pieces because I was devastated that I found them in my dental floss, right? Contact lens fluids right now, or contacts, period. I had to switch my contacts out. Toilet paper, I mean, I could go on and on. They're in like just about everything that we're around. But here's the problem. There's millions of dollars being awarded to the damages, and yet we're still being inundated with these chemicals. But again, they're hormone disruptors. They too are obesogens, meaning they make us fat. They disrupt our hormones. And here we are trying to get better by taking more hormones, doing this, doing that. But so the point you asked was, that's what's crushing our detox pathways. I mean, I could go on. They're putting aluminum in jet fuel as part of making it more efficient. That's falling down on us. Plus what we've been exposed to just from our parents. I mean, this is what we're up against.
So how do we get a cellular detox started?
Okay, well, that's a great question, because to upregulate the cellular pathways. Okay, I've been teaching this for 20 years, so it's not as simple as like on the show.
Right.
Very quickly.
I know. You got 5 minutes. How do I detox, Dr. Papa?
If it were only so simple, right?
Right.
But, there is I came up with something called my 5 R's. That's a roadmap to how you do it, just quickly, right? The membranes of our cells are very important. So that's the R2. R1 is removing the sources, right? Don't drink out of plastics.
Right.
I mean, but it's hard. It's unavoidable to some degree. But R2 is regenerating the cell membranes. What comes into the cell and what comes out is really the membranes that do that. Matter of fact, there's a saying, it's not mine, but life and death begins on the cell membranes. So that's how important the membranes are. Matter of fact, that's where our hormone receptors are. So when your hormones are normal in blood, they still have to connect to a receptor and get into the cell, or their message into the cell, and we feel well. We burn fat normal, all is well. But what if they don't? Meaning something's blocking it. Toxins block those receptors. And then you can have normal blood levels, or even make your blood levels normal with hormones by taking them. But if they don't get into the cell because that membrane is inflamed from toxins, we don't feel well. Right, so the membrane, raising cellular energy, restoring cellular energy is R3. R4 is reducing the inflammation of the cell. R5 is reestablishing something called methylation that helps us detox even bad hormones. But that's the 5 R's. That's what we need to do to upregulate the cell function.
Now, I know this is done primarily, to go through your life with a fine-tooth comb and try to eliminate what you can. A lot of it is just thrown at us.
Yes.
But is this done with food? Is this done with, nutraceuticals?
Food is a big part of it, right? I think the focus on food is a little incorrect in this country, meaning I agree we eat too many processed foods, refined carbohydrates. We should change that, no doubt about it. But it's the toxins in food that we really should be paying attention. So part of it is, in fact, food, right? And part of it's a lot of the products that we're using, right? But the fact is food is carrying a lot of these toxins with it. One is called glyphosate. You've had many guests on talking about this. Glyphosate is a chemical that they're spraying on our food. Okay, it's even in rainfall now, right? But what it does is it opens up our gut barrier and our blood-brain barrier. Why is that significant? 2012, senior scientist at MIT, Stephanie Seneff, she was one of the first to show that it opens up the blood-brain barrier and allows these toxins that I'm talking about and others to cross deeper into the brain. And that's now become a problem. Food is a problem. And there's other chemicals being sprayed on our food, right? So, but yet, if you look at a country like Italy, who in 2023 won healthiest country in the world, okay, by some of the research. But the fact is they eat 20% more carbs than us. Why don't we see the level of obesity there? Diabetes, thyroid conditions, we don't. Because it's the toxins. Glyphosate, that one chemical, is outlawed there. They don't use it. And they don't use a lot of other chemicals. I do a lot of social media holding up products that are banned in Europe, in Italy, France, because of the chemicals. It's the chemicals of why we're not seeing obesity at the rates we are here. So the
Yeah.
chemicals in the food is the bigger problem even than what food you're eating oftentimes.
Yeah, we did an entire 1-hour show of what's banned around the world.
I know,
That's
but not here.
That's legal here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And if you think I'm like, I buy my Irish butter, now I find out it has plastics in it. You know, I think I'm buying a soda that's good for my gut, and I'd have to drink 3 or 4 of them to get.
Yeah.
You never really know what you're getting in this country because everything is greenwashed, and you know, through marketing you get whatever you want. We've got a minute left.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to talk about when it comes to cleansing at the cellular level and detoxing?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think we do have to pay attention to what comes in, right? And that's like, you know, reading. I have some simple things. You mentioned food. If you can't read it, don't eat it. I mean, honestly, it sounds oversimplified, but there's a lot of truth to that. And here's the good news. I think the good news is this, because I hate leaving people on a downer note, right? The good news is there's so many alternatives today. Yeah, the chemicals have escalated in the last 10 years even, but in the last 10 years, we have a lot more choices, right? So you can actually find healthy makeup now, right? You can find healthy toilet paper. By the way, toilet paper has forever chemicals in it. You need to get a healthy toilet paper.
Is it scratchy?
Yeah, maybe, but even the bleaching, so get a non-bleached one because that turns into a chemical called dioxins. It's cancer-causing. It's the tissues of where we're putting it that actually we need to worry about, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so there's a lot of alternatives, and we need to pick those alternatives, right?
Okay.
So there is a little education, but for you and your family, it's like you have to start doing that. Choose a little better product.
And simplify. All right,
Yeah.
Dr. Pompa, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Got to follow this guy on social media. You'll learn all this stuff and then some. And we're going to share Dr. Pompa's story on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. We're back. Today our show is dedicated to helping you experience life to its fullest. And 2 Tampa Bay men have dedicated their lives to helping women who are down on their luck. Joining me now is one of the My Fairy Godfathers, Andrew Ashton. It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
So talk to me a little bit about your foundation. It has grown so much over the last 10 plus years
It
now.
really has. Yeah, we've been doing this for almost 11 years now. We really want women to feel beautiful. The foundation's all about giving women the experience of beauty because we want not only women to look beautiful, but we want them to feel beautiful. So we do things like gift and fit women for wigs that are getting through chemotherapy, or we send girls to the prom that can't afford to go to the prom. You know, different things like that to help girls and women of all ages feel beautiful.
Yeah, and I think what you're doing is so incredible because really beauty on the outside is truly linked to your confidence on the inside, especially when you're struggling with something like an illness or, you know, a challenge in life. I mean, the American Cancer Society created a whole program, Look Good, Feel Good, because there is a correlation. And I've met so many of the women that you've helped, and they were like, God, just to feel good for one day makes all the difference.
It really does. A lot of the women that especially women going through cancer or an illness, not only are dealing with the illness, but they're dealing with losing their hair as well. So we just want them to go through the process in feeling beautiful about themselves when they look in the mirror, when they're walking around in life. They just, you know, they need to feel that because, again, like you said, when you feel it inside and when you look in the mirror, you feel it outside, you feel confident and empowered.
And I think, too, just having someone that cares about you, that believes in you, which is another psychological element of what you guys do. Because, again, I've talked to so many women, and they're like, gosh, just somebody believed in me. They thought I was worth it.
Yep.
And then from that tiny little nod in life can really propel you.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. You know, we just finished prom season. We fit a lot of girls. We bought them dresses and beauty bags and all that. And I still hear back from girls that went to the prom 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago when prom season comes along saying, I didn't feel really worthy about myself, but you guys made me feel beautiful. And I will remember that experience for the rest of my life. So it's cool. And that little bit of sparkle that we can give hopefully we'll take them through their lifetime.
Yeah, it's cool because I know every year now you guys have started to throw a big gala, a big fundraiser, and at the fundraiser you shine the spotlight on the recipients and they get to come up and tell their stories. And many of them, they don't just hang on to that moment that they felt with you guys, they carry it with them through life, and then you get to hear how they grow and change and take that one moment of confidence and watch it soar.
Because it's true, your journey can take you different places, and just a little difference in trajectory can push you to the more positive side.
So how do people find you? How do you find the women that you help?
You know what? We've been pretty well known in the Tampa Bay area now, and we're starting to expand more nationwide. We send wigs out all across the country now. But you can find us on our website, myfairygodfathers.net. It gives you a description of all the programs we do and how you can get involved and help. And there's a lot of ways to get involved in the foundation, not just monetarily, but volunteering or sending us products or that sort of things too.
Yeah, you're in your first inaugural. I know you've had 2 under your belt now. I mean, people can't. I was shocked. You guys raised what, around $250,000 year one?
Year one, year one, and year 2 again.
Yeah.
So we were very blessed.
So it just goes to show that the community is definitely rallying around you guys, and sometimes you even fly out of the Tampa Bay area if someone's in need.
We do, and in fact, I saw one of the images up earlier. We went to last year for prom season. We went all the way up to Long Island in New York and helped out a girl who was going through cancer herself. So she was kind of a double recipient. We gave her a wig because she didn't have any hair, but we also did everything for her to get her ready to go to the prom that evening too. So yeah, we're fortunate enough to be funded and so we can give to well-deserving girls.
Yeah, it's really such a beautiful mission that started relatively grassroots, right?
It really did, yeah, it really did. It started with one prom girl, and she is the one that looked in the mirror when we got her ready and said, "You guys are like my fairy godfathers." So kind of where the name stuck 11 years ago, and here we are later, and we're approaching almost 3,500 women that we've helped, so we're very
incredible.
blessed.
Well, we're really proud to have you right here in our backyard. Thank you so much. We're going to share this story on bloomtampabay.com and how you can get involved with the My Fairy Godfathers. And when we come back, relationship coach Ken Fox is sharing how borderline personality disorder, bipolar, narcissism, and ADHD can have a profound impact on your relationships when Bloom returns. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. Well-known personality disorders like narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, bipolar, and ADHD can make relationships difficult at times. Joining me now with help is relationship coach Ken Fox. Coach Ken, it is always so great to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, likewise. So talk to me a little bit about how personality disorders impact relationships.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a long list, but normally it can kind of even start off on what you call as a really high note, but sometimes it's the high note is what really kind of sets up the spiral later. Like we all kind of go into what we call limerence at the beginning of a relationship where things are really elevated. You got the dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline. Everybody knows that honeymoon phase, so it kind of feels like you're riding a high. A lot of times somebody with a disorder like the ones you mentioned feel things to a deeper level. You could say they have the gift of intensity. But with every superpower, there comes a kryptonite. So sometimes they'll stay in that limerence, that elevated state longer. The more atypical, neurotypical person will fall out of limerence, which is a normal thing. But if you're wired to feel things more deeply, then the expectation of the other person to maintain that high can really lead to a feeling of abandonment, to lead to disappointment. So when that other person kind of does what's natural, falls out of limerence, that person with one of those personality disorders, they legitimately feel abandoned. They'll feel hurt. They'll start chasing, and sometimes chasing communicates desperation instead of strength, which isn't necessarily attractive. So it just kind of leads to one big misunderstanding, and it can just kind of take what was amazing, like something like a supernova, and turn it into a black hole all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I think both parties, because you're describing it as working at different levels. So like, let's say somebody with bipolar disorder has these high levels of emotions and you are not working at that level, so you're falling short. How do you meet in the middle? Because I'm sure both parties end up being hurt and both parties feel rejected because you don't know why the other person is reacting the way they're reacting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's kind of where the old saying, communication is the key. It's not really communication. Both parties really have to kind of come to a greater understanding. A lot of times the person with a disorder just kind of they feel judged, they feel rejected. So they feel this hyper intensity to hold on to that feeling of being accepted and feeling that connection, which can just lead to more expectation on the other side to match a level that's not really possible for them. So if both parties can kind of understand, like with a lot of the clients that I work with, if they understand that how they feel isn't necessarily evidence of being broken, sometimes just being wired in a different way means that your intensity is higher than normal. That doesn't mean that you're worthy of rejection the rest of your life, but understanding your expectation can be off and that other person just isn't wired to consistently meet what to you is normal. So just kind of having clear understanding and being able to understand have more empathy than expectation of emotional match, if that makes sense, can really go a long way.
I think a lot of people, this is going to resonate with a lot of people who are listening right now, but they're probably most concerned when the relationships fall apart and they're trying to bridge that divide back. So if the person with a personality disorder, it has retreated or gotten mad, or maybe you've pushed them to the limits unknowingly, how do you start the line of communication back?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, a reasonable boundary, that keyword reasonable comes up a lot when you're dealing with relationships like this. Kind of trying to stay calm and empathetic in explaining your reaction and explaining that your reaction is a reasonable reaction and that maybe their expectation of you is based on their wiring. It's based on how they feel. It's based on what they would do in your situation. That doesn't mean it's reasonable for them to make the assumption that everybody around them is going to be able to express and react the same way. That's not evidence of love. Sometimes that other person's reaction just isn't going to match up with what you naturally have the ability to communicate for yourself. So just kind of clearly establishing and then standing behind those reasonable boundaries. And that doesn't mean you have to abandon them, but they have to be able to recognize that uneven expectation. That's one of the keys that'll tell you, all right, is this relationship something that we can keep working on? If they don't meet your reasonable boundaries, then you can't dive in and try to save them. A lot of times they're amazing, incredible people, so that impulse is there, but it's like trying to rescue a drowning baby elephant. It's just not going to work out. They have to be able to see it enough to make those reasonable adjustments.
So you're saying the person with the personality disorder that might be struggling with the bipolar disorder or anything else that we mentioned earlier on, they kind of need to understand their own boundaries. They need to understand that they're a contributor to this just because the other person might be unknowingly not meeting their expectations.
Yeah, and it's amazing, but sometimes I'll talk to clients that they haven't really heard that. What they're used to hearing is where they fall short, where they're not neurotypical, where they're not good at follow through or consistency. They don't really think that there's a positive side. Like there's the kryptonite, but there's a positive side. It's that unusual gifted level of intensity. If they can understand it, and then it's packaged not as a condemnation, it's almost packaged as a benefit. It's a gift, but sometimes that gift creates expectations that aren't reasonable for everybody around them. If they can just acknowledge that, if they can recognize that, they won't feel shamed. They'll actually feel blessed in a lot of ways, but it'll adjust the unreasonable expectation of the people around them, if that makes sense.
Coach Ken, I always love our conversations. Thank you so much for joining us on Bloom.
It's been a pleasure.
All
Take
right,
care.
We're going to share this story on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Enhance Home Solutions.
Welcome back to Bloom. Being healthy starts with clean water. Do you know what's in your water? Joining me now to talk about the gold standard in water filtrations is Bobby Gibbons, the owner of Enhance Home Solutions, and water treatment specialist Aaron Koslawi, along with their mascot, Tito the dog. Everybody, welcome to Bloom. So, Aaron, we'll start with you. What is wrong with the water filtration industry?
First off, the water industry is very diluted. It's opinionated. It's not a regulated market. On top of it, salespeople are pushing things that you don't need or don't want. They're just trying to promise the world, and you get something you regret pretty quick.
And Bobby, can you tell if the water in your area is even safe to drink?
Well, what you want to do is you can call us out. We'll do it at no charge. We'll come to your house with a testing kit, and we'll test that water for you so you can see it for yourself. Different colors would change based on the hardness, based on how the chlorine levels are, your iron levels if you have a well, because we do well systems as well on top of city water. So we'll test your water and tell you that if you need a system or not. If you have an existing system and you question, when is this thing really working? Did I get sold a bunch of garbage? Well, we'll come out and test it for you, and if it's not going good, we'll work with you, try to Frankenstein your existing unit and make it worth your while to make it better. But at the end of the day, we decided to make the best unit that money can buy to cover all those things.
Yeah, it is alarming that this is not a regulated industry, so you need to get providers that know what they're doing. And Aaron, I know you're an expert on this. Talk to me about the Enhance H2O Complete system and why it's considered to be the best in the market.
It's considered best in the market because, one, Bobby was burned. He bought a unit that did not do what it was supposed to do. He basically said, I want the best of the best. So what we did was I broke it down with the right medias, activated aluminum, one to remove fluoride, along with other things to remove chlorine, hardness, and then where there's an RO to remove any impurities from the city as well.
That's good to know. And Bobby, what are the health benefits of Enhance H2O for you and your pets as endorsed by Tito himself?
Well, Tito's our mascot. He's the baby of the family. We love our pets. We love all animals. And what people don't realize is some people just sell you a water softener and that's it. Well, a water softener is just straight salt. So when you drink that water, you're drinking salt water. Well, what do you think you're giving to your pets? Salt water. It's not very healthy for them. And a lot of people are not educated. So what we did is on every unit that we have a paw print, which is Tito's paw print, meaning Tito approved, meaning that it's safe for you and your pets to drink. And the way we were able to do that is we add an RO system, but also we add an alkaline system to it. So you can have that smart water, that essential water coming right out of your faucet. No need to buy that $4 bottle of water anymore. The H2O system replaces it and saves you a ton of money.
And I have a reverse osmosis system, but I'm just drinking flat water. So you could come out to my house and retrofit my system, maybe with this filtration that will help me get the minerals that I need that are healthy for my body.
Correct. So you're not just going to have it healthy for your body, but also it's going to fight cancers and all types of things that live in a high acidic body. Now we're going to raise your alkaline in your body by adding those minerals back into the system.
This is really fascinating. I really appreciate you coming out and explaining this to our Bloom viewers. All right, and thank you, Tito. All right, Tito. For more information, visit enhancehs.com and receive a Tito-approved discount of 25% off your Enhance H2O Complete system if you mention Bloom, plus an additional 5% off for veterans and first responders. And we're super excited to have Enhance Home Solutions participating in our Bloom Health Expo Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center. We hope to see you there. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Enhance Home Solutions.
Welcome back to Bloom. There's a mission in the state of Florida to support and champion arts education and cultural experiences for all. Here to tell us more about their new immersive initiative, Arts for All, is the CEO and founder of Floridorama, Liz Dimmitt. Liz, it's great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me about Floridorama.
Floridorama is an immersive art experience where you go in and everything around you is made by artists.
And who are the artists creating this?
So we've partnered with over 75 artists so far. Most of them are local or tied to Florida.
Okay, so now there's a big event coming up that's going to really champion our youth.
Yeah, so we are working on a project called Art for All, and due to the generosity of Jeff and Penny Vinnick, we are giving away 2,000 free tickets every month to nonprofits and public schools.
So that way kids of all ages can have this kind of experience, which is so important.
Yeah, I mean, the arts shouldn't be something that's as exclusive or there's barriers to entry. And our tagline is art for all, play for all, and joy for all. So this Art for All project is really about getting as many people in to see the art and experience it and have fun.
Yeah, and it's a twofold really win, because not only do the kids get to go and see this and experience it, but it's really good for the nonprofits to support what they're doing and get the word out about them.
Absolutely, and we've even been giving them to nonprofits for their staff and volunteers to come, because they should all be rewarded for the good work they're doing. So Art for All is really taking on a life of its own and spreading out into the community.
Tell me about the creative technology side of this.
So Florida Rama is an arts and technology museum where everything is created by artists, but a lot of time that's projection or interactives, and there's different ways for you to experience the art that engages all your senses. So it's not like a normal museum. You can go in and you're asked to touch things, to play with things, and really sort of immerse yourself in the experience.
And you're doing a lot of collabs to make this happen.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of different artists. We work with also a lot of local organizations. Just about 2 weeks ago, we hosted the St. Pete Youth Farm for their year-end celebration, which was just so much fun. And, you know, we're really about spreading that joy around the community and giving back.
And you really have a focus on underserved communities here in the Tampa Bay area and beyond.
Absolutely. I mean, Jeff and Penny Vinnick are behind this because we do have that focus. I mean, we are a paid attraction, but not everyone can afford to come. And sometimes, you know, public schools have to choose between buying the tickets and busing the students there. So we've made the tickets free so they can just pay for the busing and get them there, and everyone can come enjoy the art.
And then just for those of us who might take for granted exposure to the arts, just talk to me about the benefit for the child.
Well, I think, you know, everyone loves art when they actually get around it. Sometimes you think that it's not for me, but this is really storyful and interactive and fun, and you'll even recognize some of the artists you see inside because of the different murals around Tampa Bay. And so art really is a way to tell stories, to learn about other people, to learn about Florida history, because we're very Florida focused. So it just really engages all the senses and inspires.
I think this is a great initiative, and again, the Vinnicks do so much for our community. It's such a blessing to have them here, and they give back again and again and again, including to your initiative. So thank you so much for sharing it with our Bloom viewers.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, we're going to share Liz's story on BloomTampaBay.com, and we'll be back with more Bloom right after this. It's time for today's Bloom trivia question. When did Veracruz, Mexico become Tampa's sister city? In 1989, 1995, or 2002? The answer is 2002. The International Sister City program was developed to encourage great friendship between the United States and other nations. In 2002, then Mayor Dick Greco signed an agreement of partnership with Veracruz. The city of Tampa has 12 formalized sister city agreements. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. It's our men's health special. Behavioral scientist Dr. Gina Kalura is sharing why it's so important for dads to make their health a top priority. And meet the author of Big Boys Do Cry, who's teaching men how to be vulnerable and sharing why it's a sign of strength. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Enhance Home Solutions.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.